Hello everybody and welcome to CFO Conversations. I'm your host Paula Kensington, and today I have great pleasure in welcoming back Taryn Rolton and Rachel Grimes. Hello ladies, my colleagues here in Australia. So conversation today is about sustainability, and it's on everybody's lips now. We're seeing it everywhere, thank goodness that we're now starting to hear it more, because it's important, right? And I know as finance leaders, you know, we've been on this conversation for a while, but I do worry about where CFOs are playing and how we can affect change, and whether we want to be driving and passionate about it. So there's a lot of different areas that this conversation could go. So we'll see where we'll take it today. I'm going to start with you, Taryn, and ask you about sustainability. You know, you've got an idea on the lenses of what sustainability means. So take us through, what does it mean for you and for CFOs, and what position they can play?
Okay, well, certainly there is a lot of movement in this space, and the boards that I'm involved with, being IFAC, and that Rachel's had a long involvement with, there's a lot of work that they're progressing around improving the future of sustainability reporting. Because what you report is what gets done. And so having visibility of the impact of our actions and our decisions on the environment and on the future is really, really important. And there are two lenses you can take to that. There's the lens around how does the climate and how does the environment affect my reporting and my results of my company today. And that's a piece that's kind of at the core. That's a lot of places where the standards are focused at the moment. And that's somewhere where, as a CFO, you can directly have a role. You then start to move out and say, well, how's the environment going to affect my risk in the future? So CFOs who are involved in risk discussions, absolutely, that should be something at front of mind. How's the environmental change and how is the climate going to affect the way we deliver the risks that the business faces, and therefore our future operations? And then on the third broader piece, it's how does the organisation affect out? So how are we affecting the world with the things that we do? So rather than looking at the way that the environment affects us and our results, is what are we doing with others? And that's probably more where the public policy debate sits, which isn't necessarily where the CFO might play as much in this first instance. They would generally be looking at more of the central core. But there are lots of things that CFO should be thinking about, and finance professionals should be thinking about, because this is a way of the future. So if we move to sustainability reporting and integrate that further into our expectations, and certainly advice I have is that analysts and investors are looking more at that. This isn't something the finance people are just talking about. This is something the market wants. And as that progresses, we need to think, do the systems we have collect the information? So do CFOs have the skills to be able to present the information? We do have very strong skills in reporting and communication of numbers. So yes, we should have those base skills, even if we don't have the subject matter expertise. But how are we going to make sure our systems have the controls and processes to actually capture that information and make it something that can be assured and relied on? So there is a huge amount of work that the CFO can do to ensure that the function is set up and ready to support it.
Yeah, nice. And I think, like you say, the CFO is well placed, because this is about accountability. It's not just about the numbers. It's about, are we doing the right thing? Are we saying that we're doing the right thing and actually doing the right thing? And, you know, and wider is like the whole supply chain, the value chain, you know, end to end. Are we doing the right thing? And, you know, by people and by the planet. And, you know, maybe some of that is going to be a detriment to the profits. I mean, initially it might be. And I think that's where people have struggled around disrupted business models. You know, how do we bring that sustainability conversation to a business model? So it's good to hear that you're saying that the analysts are ready and the investors are ready, which is great, because some of these conversations will be difficult to have. Rachel, your view in commercial, more, you know, the commercial land, and you know, what are your thoughts?
Oh, look, I think Taryn's just summed it up brilliantly, and there's just a couple of other points that I'd add. This is a commercial piece. Every single thing is going to impact the bottom line, and the CFOs are so well placed. And on top of that, there's a lot of things that are, I think, being done in a very positive but still a piecemeal way, like the modern slavery announcements, the climate change announcements, whereas we have a document that really most CFOs own across the world, and that's the annual report. And the regulators are going to look at that, the investors are looking at it, the analysts are looking at it for what we're doing as an entity in terms of sustainability and integrated reporting. And, we need to move faster. We need to share that story, because it's going to be those companies that make the biggest differences in this will be the ones that we're talking about in 20 and 30 years' time. Those that don't make a move on this topic won't be around. Because the investors are looking for that sustainable notion. And you can see that in shareholders. If you go to any large AGMs of the top 10 companies, but particularly financial institutions, I would say that 55% of the time spent at the AGM is answering sustainability questions. And if that doesn't show you the way of the future, nothing will.
Yeah, nice. That's a really good observation as well. But I think, it's like, we had a conversation around the size of the organisation, and does the size drive the passion for sustainability? And I think not necessarily so.
No, I think it's the people, it's the employees. They want to work for an entity that they can be proud of, and they are the single biggest drivers. And you as a CFO need to tap into those people, or you'll be left behind. You need to harness that energy and help them point it in the right direction, and give them the resources they need to really make a difference. And your shareholders, your stakeholders, your investors, they are going to thank you for doing that.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I think you can use your skills to show how you can generate money without damaging the planet. You really buy into the passion and the commitment of staff and customers. And you think about organisations that have had environmental things hit the paper or the media. Think of Volkswagen and the cars a few years ago. That was absolutely horribly detrimental to the organisation. So it's fully a commercial issue, and we have to jump on it.
Yeah, and as we've said already, the CFO is well placed because it's a trusted advisory piece of the CFO that people listen to the CFO. And I'm sure you ladies agree. I've worked for so many boards, reported into boards, and they look to me as the truth sayer. They look to me for someone that's actually going to tell them, what's what. There's no fluff. We're not going to fluff up things. So I think we're in a good position.
Agree.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, ladies. Good talking.
Thank you.
Thank you.